Okay, here we go. Welcome back. Today we're going to do the second part of Wednesday's trades, which was the major trend trade. And I just went through the whole entire day. Today, what I did is I did not trade this trade because I try to find uh, where there's losses. This is a great trade because I can let this thing run and I try to get 20 ticks profit. I trade between 3 to 4 contracts and I do have a 100 tick stop loss. So but I try to get 20 ticks. And most of the time I could get right around 20 ticks, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less, but it does work out. But when he had to do those, I had to identify the spots where there's losses. And there's 3 spots where it has losses. Number one, when it's on the top of the resistance or support line, when it's right there, you don't want to trade those. I don't want to trade those usually anyways. But that was one spot. The second spot is and I'll show you, if there's a red line that's on the charts that goes through and goes through the previous colors bar, so the different colors bar right before the spike up. I don't know why, but that's just one of the spots where there's losses at, and so that's another one to avoid. And the third spot, which is I call it a widowmaker. So you think about like a big long trend going one direction. It has a little blip and it keeps going. That blip can get you in and can get you lose money. And so that's hard to find. But I think we found a good solution for it about uh, at least every other time. So we cut back the losses on that by a ton, and you still can make a lot of money. The point with this trade is all about volume because if you get 5 or 10 trades in there, you're talking about between 100 to potentially 200 ticks. Now, if you do have a loss, it's between 40 and 60 ticks, but you're still up a lot. And that's kind of the point because I've had losses with this, but I ripped off 5, 6, 7, 8 trades in a row right afterwards, made up for that loss and then some. And so that's why I do like this trade. I literally have to get up and walk away because sometimes this trade does take 2, 3, 5, even 7 minutes on the longest one I've seen. And so you just let it run and just trust that you did it right. So let me show you these trades, and I may go through a bunch of them. I do want to go through the ones that I highlighted so that we can see definitely where not to trade. Okay. Uh, and these are all the points. So the first one, again, major trend trade is this guy right here. It's at 502. This 502 trade, it's you got the what we're looking for is they're looking for this green line below the ribbon. It shoots up here, and it gets you out. This is a quick trade. This is also correlated with the other trade as well. This would have been a double trade, which would have been really, really nice. But all the reasons to take this, everything worked out great. And I'll talk about this a little bit. The purple lines is what we discovered could be our new potential filter for us. Okay. Uh, this trade, I'm gonna talk about this one, 515 trade. This is a no-go trade because we're looking at the top of this resistance line. The price came up here and then bounced down and then bounced back up. This is not a good place to be. There was about 16 ticks of profit here, depending on where your entry point is, but this is somewhere where I would not have traded. And this is where you don't want to be at. The next one, though, came again, we're looking for major trends. And so we're following the green line. The green line now crossed through the ribbon. And so we're going to take the sells only. This 601 trade, easy one to take. There was, green lines, green lights all over the place. Like take this trade. It did bounce a little bit, but 603 came down and it just worked out great. Uh, the next trade is at 629. And there's multiple reasons why I wouldn't have taken this trade. Number one, I'm looking at this, it's touching the resistance line, trying to push up. It's also the time of the day. And more importantly, here's the example of the red line cutting right through this bar before the time hit. So this is, literally the minute before the opening bell. So not a great place to be hanging out because the volatility is kind of all over the map. I've talked about this before. Something about 625 to about 635, about that 10-minute window, give or take. Just kind of avoid. Today I went to 633 and made a trade. A little bit hesitant, but just because it's super volatile. The market hasn't quite settled down yet, and you could be right and wrong at the same time, which is never fun. Let's see what got going on here. I'm going to shrink this a little bit so we could keep on going. Oh, again, here's another one at 714. This again, right on the top of the market. The market was moving up a lot, bounced down, came back up here, and this is that blip for a down movement. This is a no-go trade. Okay, this is one you do not want to take. But the example at 750, now this did happen, what, 40 minutes later? This is yes, you take this trade all day long. The red line is through its own blue bars right there. And so, yeah, you take this. Here's the green line saying the support is pushing the market still up. So go ahead and take this bar, and this one worked out fantastically. Now, the next couple ones I'm going to show you, this one in particular, this is a widowmaker one. This is the one I'm talking about where you got the price moving down here, you got the blip, and then keep on going. But major trend lines down below. So you're like, do I take it? Do I not take it? What's going on here? And at this one, there is a purple line. Now, I don't have the purple lines up in the screen right now, but the purple lines is another setting on Trade and so if you join me in the mornings, I'll tell you where that is. But it said not to take this trade, and also too, this looks like it would have worked out, but it said not to take this trade either until actually 829. The purple lines would have kept me out of this bar until 829, and then you take it at the 830, 831. And so it's kind of interesting to watch the purple line. I can see how that develops, but I would have missed both of these trades just because of the purple lines filter. And this one, it would have been really close. You would have gone down 80 ticks before it bounced back up here. So it just would have been a white knuckle ride, and those are no fun. So if you could avoid that by using a filter, then you got to use the filters and not just trade every single time just to make a trade. All right, let's go back to the charts. Filters here. Here's another one too. This is the 840 trade. You see the red line? Red line went right through the opposite color bar. This is one that did not go as high. It went out 15, 16 ticks is all it went from the close of the candle on this guy. And so you would not want to take this trade, even though it says, you know, potentially yes, but it doesn't mean yes because of of this red line. This red line is definitely keeping you out of that trade. It's not 100% foolproof, but let me tell you, uh, there's two trades right there you've been wrong. And so you avoid that one, okay? You just don't want to. It's like, why risk it? Okay, still going up here. This trade was a yes, 854, 855. You take this 855 up all day long. Again, the red line is nowhere touching anything. Everything worked out great. Even the purple line said take this trade. So here's the next one at 913. What happened? Oh, no, no, sorry. Green line passed over. It was actually 923. This one, I watched, and so this is where I have to like come into think about this for a second because the purple lines, both of them said take this trade. But it was on the bottom of the resistance, excuse me, the support line right there. And so let me show you this again. Uh, so the price came down. We could have taken this thing. It wasn't the bottom of the market, and so it was okay, but there's definitely a strong support line that was shooting from way back here about 7:40, 7:48 in the morning. And so that's why it bounced here and then came back up. Now it's not the very top or the bottom of the session, but I did I would have maybe not have taken this one. And that's one I'm gonna have to decide on whether I just always go with the purple lines or I have to give more weight to one of those trades than other because this did work out. And it worked out a lot. It bounced plenty of ticks down below. So I mean that was that trade. But this trade at 936, this was like 100% yes. It wasn't touching the support lines. It was the purple lines had lined up for it. The red line is up there. Everything, all the tea leaves said yes, take this trade at the close of this bar and then get in at 937, 38. I mean, this is another one too that just worked out fantastically. Okay, so green light passed through here. Let me just check my time. Almost at 10 minutes. So here's one at 10:18, and so this one you had some distance in between, and so 44 to there was $4 here. There's 16 ticks that you could see. and I had enough space in here. But if you're worried about the top of the of hitting the resistance line, especially because it bounced off, a few minutes before then, came back down, and then you're like, all right, do I take it, not take it? Here's the caveat. The purple line said take it, both of them. So I'm gonna have to be watching that closely. Right now, I'm giving more weight to when it's at the top of the resistance support lines. I may have to see how many ticks away it is from those guys to really give a determination on that. But I could have sat this one out just as easily. Then the market just kept on running one direction, and so we didn't get a trade until here's another Widowmaker. This is 11:15, but here's the cool thing: the purple line said don't take this. Uh, that was a clear, easy purple line one. 11:45. This is the only one, except for the fact that you're like, maybe I shouldn't take this because the trend's moving down. Everything's pointing down direction. This is the only one where I potentially could have had a loss out of all the trades. And it would have been roughly from, we'll say 80 down to, or sorry, 48 down to 33. So what is that? 15, 18. So we're talking about, somewhere between 70 and 80 ticks between these guys of a loss. And so, I mean, it's going to wipe away at least three, maybe three and a half trades earlier. And this is the one where it's a little questionable because one of the purple lines said yes, other purple lines said no. Um, but the market was moving that direction pretty sharply, and so it would have been okay to avoid that one, especially because you had this is a crazy Ivan trade and a crazy Ivan trade. I can't find another identifier, and so that could have been a Black Widow right there for us. All right, I know times keep rolling on this thing, and so let me just keep going so you can see this because this is an important trade. Let's see, 1227. This was a total grain, like absolutely take that trade. 1245, getting close to the top of the resistance lines. Both purples said yes to take on that trade. And then same thing with here too, 1253. Both purple lines said take this trade, even though it was on top of the resistance. And so that's what I'm going to be looking at because if I was down from the other trade, I would have wanted to take those last couple trades to make up any lost profit. So, all right, guys, that's the major trend trade. Those are the two trades I'm doing. I'm doing the major trend trade and I'm doing the hybrid trade. Watch my screens, listen to me talk in the mornings. Hopefully I'm coherent and come join me and let's make some money together, okay? All right. I'll see y'all next time. Send some happy thoughts out to the universe, say your prayers, and then we'll keep on.